Something massive just shook the Pi network ecosystem. And if you've been watching your Pi wallet bounce like a ping pong ball, what's about to unfold might just flip your mindset completely. After weeks, months even, of uncertainty, complaints, and straight-up community frustration, something happened that wasn't loudly announced or hyped with fireworks, yet its impact hit hard. The price of Pi climbed to 67 cents, the market cap jumped to $4.5 billion, and trade volume exploded by 116%, reaching a jaw-dropping $157 million in just 24 hours. That's not just a number spike. That's a statement. But wait, what's behind this sudden boost? A silent move by the Pi core team? A buyback? Not a rumor. Not speculation, a real strategic power play to stabilize Pi's price in a market that was starting to feel like a free fall. They pulled nearly 46 million Pi tokens from OKX and stashed them into a wallet they control. And guess what? It worked. The price steadied, the community took notice, and for the first time in a long time, hope started breathing again. Now here's a question for you. Do you believe this buyback is a short-term fix or the beginning of a longer-term strategy that could finally get Pi to the moon? Drop your answer in the comment section, and don't forget to catch up on all the latest Pi network updates in our previous videos. Links in the description below. If you're part of this amazing Pi journey, show some love by dropping Pi network to the moon and your country's name in the comments. Let's see where the Pi family is watching from. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel so we can keep bringing you the latest Pi network updates that really matter. Join our Telegram group and follow our Facebook page. Links are also in the description below. And finally, as always, this video is for entertainment purposes only. It is not financial or investment advice. Make your decisions wisely, Pioneers. Alright, let's dive into this update like we're mining our last Pi. Let's get started. You know how sometimes you just need a sign that things are moving in the right direction? Well, if you're a Pi holder, you just got one. It wasn't a loud announcement. There wasn't a flashy AMA or a new listing celebration. Instead, something far more impactful happened quietly behind the scenes, and now it's turning heads across the crypto world. Pi's price, which had been hovering and dipping, suddenly surged to around 67 cents. It later dipped slightly to 65 cents, but the important part wasn't the number, it was what triggered it. For a lot of us, it looked like just another typical fluctuation, until the numbers started telling a different story. Market cap rose to over $4.5 billion. Trade volume exploded to $157 million. That's not normal day-to-day activity, that's an earthquake in slow motion. What caused it? A buyback. A term that many in the Pi community may have only heard whispered in high-level crypto discussions. But this wasn't theory, this was action. Real Pi tokens, 46 million of them, were bought back from OKX and deposited into a subwallet. A subwallet that, as it turns out, is controlled by none other than the Pi core team. The same core team many thought were staying silent too long just made the loudest move of all, without saying a word. This wasn't just a buyback, it was a strategy, and it came at the perfect time. The community had been preparing for the second wave of mainnet migrations, and with more users getting access to their Pi, everyone expected a flood of selling. More coins entering the market usually means one thing, falling prices. But not this time, not with this counter move in play. And let's be honest, this was personal for many of us. I'm not just talking about holding Pi, I'm talking about watching your wallet bleed red, watching all those long mining sessions, all those taps, turn into dollar values that kept sliding south, but now, green. For the first time in a long time, people are looking at their wallets and seeing gains. Some of us bought at 44 cents, some bought at 60 cents. Even those who got in around 62 cents are now seeing positive numbers. And that changes everything. It's more than just profit, it's about trust. It's about knowing that the core team is not asleep at the wheel. It's about seeing action instead of just hearing promises. And let me tell you, this buyback wasn't just good for the charts, it lit a fire under the community. There's fresh energy in the air, a vibe we haven't felt since the initial mainnet launch hype. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. The wallet receiving the tokens was traced back to the Pi Foundation 2, a wallet created just 2 months ago. It started with a single Pi, just one. And now it's holding nearly 48.5 million Pi coins, valued around $31 million. That's not just an operation, that's a masterclass in market control. Instead of letting Pi drown in a wave of post-migration sell-offs, the team built a dam. They bought up the tokens and held them, effectively tightening supply and letting the price breathe. And let's talk about the impact. This one silent move sent a shockwave through the community. People who were previously skeptical began to reconsider. Even some of the loudest critics had to admit this was a smart play. One user said, "I'm waiting to sell this trash and move on," but even that frustration carries a silent acknowledgement. This thing is moving, and movement brings attention. So, what does this mean long-term? Well, here's the deal. Buybacks are a temporary solution. They're like giving the market a shot of adrenaline. They stabilize the price for now. But what happens when the wallet stops buying? What happens when the adrenaline wears off? That's where the community comes in. This isn't just about the core team anymore, it's about us, the users, the believers, the builders. If we want Pi to hold and rise in value, we've got to treat it like it already has value, and that starts with putting it into action. It means using Pi in everyday transactions, whether that's supporting businesses that accept it, or creating local marketplaces where Pi can flow freely between people. It's about fostering peer-to-peer commerce and driving real-world utility that shows Pi is more than just a speculative token. It's a legitimate currency in the making. And here's the key. Pi doesn't need to wait for global exchanges like Binance to validate its worth. The more we use it, the more its value becomes evident. As the Pi economy grows organically through our collective efforts, a self-sustaining ecosystem will emerge that others can't ignore. When the world sees this thriving Pi community, they'll want to join in. And that's when Pi will truly shine. That's when Binance and other big players won't need to be begged. They'll be knocking on our door, and yeah, maybe you're not ready to dream of $10 Pi just yet. Maybe even $1 feels distant. But with every buyback, every new use case, every person who decides not to dump their coins, that future gets closer. And if Pi hits $10, let's just say, some of us are buying land somewhere, or at least somewhere decent in wherever you are. But here's the thing. This buyback wasn't just about price, it was a message. A signal that the team is playing chess, not checkers. They're not rushing to make loud promises, they're making bold moves quietly. And if you're paying attention, you'll realize we're only at the beginning of what could be a massive shift in Pi's momentum. So don't lose focus now. Don't sell off just because it's green. Think strategy, think long-term, and most importantly, believe again. Not in hype, but in actions. So to wrap things up, Pi Network just pulled off one of the boldest silent moves we've seen since the mainnet launch. A massive buyback of 46 million coins, aimed at stabilizing the price amidst rising trade volume and a surge of unlocked tokens. The result? Price stability, increased market confidence, and a fresh wave of excitement across the Pi community. If you found value in this update, show some love by smashing that like button, sharing this video with your PI friends, and subscribing for more timely, real, and deeply analyzed Pi Network content. We've got more updates coming, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Now tell me in the comments, do you think this buyback move by the core team is just a short-term patch, or do you see it as a sign that bigger and better things are ahead for Pi? And hey, if you've got questions or insights, don't hold back. Drop them in the comments too. We're building this journey together. Thanks for watching, Pi fam. I appreciate every one of you riding this wave with us. See you in the next video.